Aaron and I are both very method, so we did a lot of pub fights first.
Bullet Train is speeding into theaters and into the hearts of action lovers. Probably because the concept is so epic. Ready to find out just how difficult it is to film on a train? Number 1. Sometimes the most difficult stunts aren't the ones that include kicking teeth in. Since the movie was filmed on a soundstage and not on an actual moving train, trying to emulate things like speed can be a real challenge. Director David Leitch said the hardest stunt technically was getting the guys to fly out the train door. It was pretty hard making the physics look right. We were on a soundstage. We had to have stuntmen on a wire, 3 riggers and pullers, and then the choreography was changed at the last minute the night before. We were going to kick them out the door, but the set wasn't really built for it. This is David's bread and butter though, so he handled the situation with ease, saying, "I've had so much experience in stunts. I knew we could do it. I made the stunt team stay late and put up the rigging and rehearse it in the extra hours. Then we got there and shot it in the morning, but it was not rehearsed. We just did it on the fly, and we leaned in and we got it." Number 2. Is padding the gaffer's job? We don't know, but we're going to blame them for this. Aaron Taylor Johnson lost a chunk of his hand, but he was prepared for the danger, admitting after, "When you sign up for a David Leitch movie, you know you're gonna get a couple battle scars." He was drop-kicked across the room, and his hand caught on a sharp bit where there was no padding. What he wasn't prepared for was the part where he passed out, saying, "I literally went wham, passed out. And then I came back and was like, should we go again?" And they were like, no, you gotta go get stitches at the hospital." So then I spent the night in the hospital. Gaffers are lighting control specialists. We were wrong to blame them. Maybe we can blame rigging instead. Number 3. A fight at the concession stand isn't all that special. Have you been to a play with only a 15-minute intermission? One fight between Aaron and Brad was changed from one train car to another pretty last minute. This was hard on everyone because each of the 3 train cars was designed with different abilities. The director found it would be more fun to have the scene set in the concession car, and they could have a fun gag with the concession girl. "You know what? Do you have anything sparkling?" But the director said, "Problem is, that set wasn't made to fly. The walls couldn't move. So logistically, you got a camera operator in there, you got a China ball light, and you got sound, and you're trying to move and fight, and that was hard." Number 4. Luckily, the cast was prepared for last-minute changes. They taught the entire cast to throw punches with both hands, rather than learn just complicated choreography sequences, so that in case when they got to set and the director potentially changed his mind, the actors were prepared. Brad Pitt was doing all his own stunts, well, 90 to 95% anyways. David Leitch went from Brad's stunt double to director. Pitt said, "He trained me for those fights, and in a way, he was helping me develop the character. Now he's a director with his own voice and own vernacular, and I'm serving him. He's the boss." So there was a beautiful symmetry for 2 old friends. Despite all the training, Brad accidentally got Brian in the nads on multiple occasions while filming one stunt scene. Oof. Now, the director would prefer to have the cast do their own fighting. Bad Bunny had pretty much no prep time, and by the end was wielding a knife like a trained assassin. The Bad Bun admitted it was intense. 3 weeks of training and fighting, getting ready with a lot of physical exercise and choreography. Nobody was damaged. Maybe it was the adrenaline, but I wouldn't have cared if I had been hurt by Brad Pitt. Number 5. If you get sick playing video games, you definitely get sick filming this. The LED panels that were used to make it look like the train was moving were messing with Joey King's head. She said, "I never got motion sickness, but what did happen is, you know, that feeling when you're sitting in a parked car and the people next to you start backing up and you feel like you're going forward. You're like, sometimes I got that feeling and I was like, oh shit." She may not have suffered from motion sickness, but the crew did. Number 6. The pressure's on when you choose to do an accent different than your own. Expect heavy criticism. Joey King spent up to 3 hours a day perfecting accents for the role. Yes, accents. She wanted options to share with the director. All of that aggressive preparation may have come from her imposter syndrome getting the best of her, thanks to Brad Pitt's presence. So she didn't drop the accent while filming. She stayed in it all day. It sure fooled Brad because the first 2 weeks he thought she was British. Brian also got to do a British accent and put himself through the ringer because he could not embarrass himself in front of his black British friends.
I didn't call them fries, I called them chips.
Number 7. Finally, actors who are honest about how much they're being slapped around. Brad would rather take the real hit if it means getting a good shot. But seriously, everybody got hit in the face. Everybody, you ask? Yes, everybody.
We all did.
Number 8. Trains are hard to film on. How do you make a movie set on a train visually interesting for 2 hours?
The parameters became the opportunity.
You have to use everything and anything to your advantage, like a laptop, armrest, or some chopsticks in a fight. Taylor Johnson likes when there are boundaries and limitations because then you can use the environment to your advantage. Working with different platforms meant getting creative. They had to be used as multiple locations, and they had to be put together efficiently so that they could be redressed.
It still blows me away, like what art department, construction, and visual effects pull off.
Number 9. Playing dead but you don't get no treats. Logan Lerman struggled with playing dead for so long, but he took inspiration from Weekend at Bernie's. Brian Tyree Henry said, "It's a true testimony to an actor because playing dead is not easy. Telling a story while your body is being moved and jostled all over the place, a lot of our corpses in this movie did a great job." Number 10. That line from Aladdin comes to mind.
Itty bitty living space.
Hiroyuki Sanada found the confined space difficult to navigate, especially with so many people on the train, because you're not just dealing with actors, but the crew on board too. It's probably better they built their own trains rather than work on one that isn't adjustable. Tyree Henry had the same concern, saying, "You're like, how is the camera gonna get through down this aisle? How are we gonna hide in this toilet?" Number 11. Is it a Pokémon or a Digimon? Zazie Beetz had to climb in that Momomon costume for at least a day, and she found that it was hot and difficult to work in. Luckily, she mostly got to pass that work off to the stunt team. Number 12. It must suck being so famous that everybody's intimidated by you. Hiroyuki Sanada struggled to keep up with Brad Pitt's improvising, saying, "I had to carefully listen. I was scared." Was he scared to miss his next line, or was he scared he wouldn't realize an adjusted line would lead to a fist to the face? He was just intimidated by Pitt. Hiroyuki wasn't alone though. Joey King was also a wee bit nervous. She said, "I've been doing this for a long time, but when I was with such heavy hitters in that movie and David Leitch directing this movie, I showed up to set being like, hey." I felt like a kid on the first day at school. I was like, I don't know anything about acting apparently, so I'm really excited to be here. What a quirky, crazy, dangerous movie, huh? We commend the whole team for being able to pull off such an original idea. Don't mention Snowpiercer or Murder on the Orient Express. This is a totally original concept, right? Were you happy to be along for the ride, or did you find the setting got a little repetitive? Let us know in the comments, and thanks for hanging out with us here at The Things.